Good evening, all, and welcome to the May 2nd Town Board meeting. Would everybody please rise for the pledge to the flag? Sir Jim, would you like to lead us in the pledge?
Yes, sir. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If everyone could please remain standing for a moment of silence, and please keep in your thoughts and prayers all of our police, fire, ambulance, all of our first responders, and all of our brave men and women who defend our freedoms on a daily basis. Please keep in your thoughts and prayers. Thank you. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, we're going to start off with some introductions to my right.
Good evening, Diana Quast, Town Clerk.
Councilman and Deputy Supervisor Ed Lachterman.
Tom Diana, Supervisor.
Sergio Esposito, Councilman.
Luciana Howitt, Councilwoman.
Mary Capoccia, Councilwoman.
Adam Rodriguez, Town Attorney.
All right. Got nobody else over there. All right. I got a few brief things to go over. First of all, I'd like to, occasionally we get bad boy letters, okay, where people are complaining about stuff. So I'd like to bring forward something that came to us the other day, and it was a compliment from a resident with regard to our water department. This particular owner of a house called, and owner called and was wanting to let everyone know how impressed she was with the whole process of the new water meters with VEPO. She got the card, made an appointment right away, got a text on this particular morning at 7:30 that he was on his way. He rang her bell at 7:55 for an 8 a.m. appointment. Was 45 minutes to install the new meter. He showed her his iPad and how many homes he had to do that particular day on her street. She was a very nice woman who said, everyone calls to complain, but no one calls to say what a nice job. Thank you so much. I don't know that she would want her name read, but just want to say thank you so much for giving any of our departments kudos. I think it's important. The guys and gals like to hear that, and it's a wonderful thing. As people may have seen, we've started our pipe relining project. You've seen the above the ground water lines up on Hanover Street. So that's going to commence shortly. They have a lot of preparation to do beforehand. Our water department has already replaced one valve there that was questionable, and this way they can continue to move from that point forward. The meter project is going very, very well. They sent out 700 letters. They got over 650 returns, and appointments are being made as we speak. So thank you to all the residents who have responded to this, and we hope to have this project well on its way by the time winter comes. We are also flushing that didn't sound well, did it? We're not flushing the toilets. We're flushing the hydrants, and that's going to take place for the next couple of weeks. So check the water department website for that particular what particular area they're flushing. So if they are flushing, you may experience a little bit of brown water. Don't do your white laundry that day, and then continue from that point forward. So that will give you an idea when they're going to be there. We actually held off on flushing hydrants on Monday due to all the rain. I don't think our storm drains needed any more water going down them for that particular day. So we held off to let some things subside, and they started up this morning. We had a really great Arbor Day celebration. If you look around the room here, you can see some of the great artwork that the kids did. They were so into it. It's really nice to see. And we planted or replanted another pin oak outside, which was a nice thing to do. And we continue with this Arbor Day, and we are a tree city once again for 2022, which is a very big honor for this town. And it's been the past 12 years that we've been a tree city. So thank you to our tree conservation committee who gets this thing put on and gets it done. Springfest at the mall was great over the weekend. They wanted to have a car show, but everybody knows what it did this past weekend. They had a few cars there, and they had a couple cars inside. But the chamber did a nice job on their vendors that they had inside, and some of the people that were showing you their wares. It was a good time. Due to the heavy rains, folks, that we've had a lot of localized flooding. A lot of the water that you see in your yard now will dissipate. It's going to take about 24 to 48 hours for these streams and for these lakes to diminish to a point to where they can actually take more water. So I know that, and Ken's in the audience, Ken Belfer had some calls with regard to Mohegan Lake. We had calls off of Lake Osceola. We've had some calls about residents on the downhill side of the water, with the way the water sheds off of the ground, and it had problems with there was a small wall collapse, etc. And oftentimes it is just a problem with the heavy water. Everything is saturated. The Shrub Oak Park was basically underwater. Half of the parking lot was the Sylvan Aquatic Center area parking lot was completely, halfway underwater, and it was up to the bottom of the bridges that lead into that. So be patient. The tides will recede, folks, and hopefully we're not going to be inundated with more of these deluges. It gets kind of troublesome for everyone involved. And we have been, and the highway department has been out there, and we've been checking our culverts, and we've been checking our streams to make sure that they are clear. I was out there and walked where I could on Monday, but I couldn't get in too far to see a certain amount of the areas that are generally problematic, but they were flowing. But everything is just very, very full at this point. So be patient. Hopefully the water will subside. Okay, we have Fan Jam was canceled last weekend. I wonder why. It rained. But they are rescheduled for Saturday and Sunday, May 6th and 7th. On Saturday, they will be operating from 12 to 8 p.m. and on Sunday from 12 to 5 p.m. And if you can spare it, if you can afford it, if you could bring something non-perishable to put in their basket, it would be wonderful. And lastly, we have, I don't know if Tom can see this. This gentleman, Mr. Kappa, is a renowned war photographer. And they are having, it actually started on April 8th and it's going on through October 8th at the Kappa Space at 2467 Quaker Church Road. That's the Quaker Meeting House right up in there. They're having a show of his photos and what he had taken during his time overseas. It'll be this Thursday, Friday, and Sunday from 1 to 5, and Saturday from 11 to 5. And I had talked to Elise about this, and she asked that if any veterans have any photos that they have taken during their time in battle, if they bring them to there, they would love to have them. They'd love to display them. So please, that would be great. Elise Graham is her name. Graham, I'm sorry. Lovely woman, and I definitely suggest going. I'll be there on Saturday at some point in time. But like I say, there's a call out there to all vets to submit some photos. Calling all vets. And that's, I think, you can research the Kappa Space at www.theKappaSpace.org. And you can find out more information on the gentleman and what is imprinted actually in this journal here. Okay, that's all I got. Mr. Ed?
All right. So we have a couple of meetings to go over, upcoming. Tomorrow, Wednesday, May 3rd, the Chamber of Commerce is having a networking breakfast. That is from 7:45 to 9:30 a.m., and this month it will be at the Mohegan Diner, one of your favorites, Tom.
My side of town.
Yes. On the 4th, the Sons of the American Legion will be holding their meeting from at 7:30 p.m. at Post 1009 on Veterans Road, and they start at 7 o'clock with a social. Anyone whose father and/or grandfather was a member of the military is entitled to join, a recognized member of the military. You do need a DD 213.
214.
214, thank you. I knew West Point would correct me. Thank you. And it's a great organization. We do a lot of work for veterans in the town and some great projects, and it's some good camaraderie. On the 17th, the Veterans Advisory Committee at 7 p.m. at the Capellini Center, room 104. We have spoken about those photos there as well, and it would be a great way, especially they're looking for great action photos if you have them. That's really what they're looking for, something unique. On the 19th, right in this room at 1 p.m., the Senior Advisory Committee will be meeting. That is televised as well. They have great speakers, usually from New York Presbyterian Health, dealing with some of the health issues our seniors see, and not so seniors, because I know there were a couple of them that I was able to pick up some information on as well. Remember, for all of our kids, Fridays, a teen center at the Capellini Center is open 5:30 to 9:30 for 6th through 12th graders, giving them a fun and safe space for activities. They have basketball, they have crafts, they have electronics, pool, you name it, and they're good for that. So please consider recommending that to either your kids or neighbors' kids, relatives in the area. It's a great area. God bless. That's okay. Great area for the kids to go and have some good supervised time. And last, Lions Night with a Medium will be 6 p.m. at game day. I believe that is Monday the 22nd. They will have Carla Blaha, who's been at some of the medium nights before. She's read quite a few people very, very accurately. And that is a $50 until May 12th, and after that it's $60. And you can find the information to sign up on the Yorktown Lions webpage. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ed. Serge, you got anything for us tonight?
Yeah, sure. Good evening, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well. I just wanted to give a special shout out to our Yorktown Heights Engine Company. I saw a lot of the calls come in, and the amount of unfortunately extrications they had to go through this weekend, and because of all the rain, is unbelievable. And so, special shout out. It's all volunteer, and they do a great job. I did want to give Ed a shout out for that Holocaust remembrance. I think I was remiss last week, and it was such a solemn, ceremony, and you do such a great job with it. So I just wanted to circle back to that. So Fam Jam, please try to participate in that. It's really going to be a great time. Our supervisor already told us the times, and I think, it's last time it was one day and it was packed, and they're really trying to make sure they get it right with the weather, and the weather has not cooperated. So again, it's Saturday and Sunday, and it's going to be a lot of fun. It's right here on Commerce Street. And lastly, I want to give a shout out to Support Connection for their the gala they held. Support Connection does so much good for our community and for people beyond our community all over the country. And it's amazing that such a wonderful organization is housed right here in Yorktown Heights. Thank you.
Okay. Luciana?
Sure. Hi, Yorktown. Happy kickoff to May. As many of you may or may not know, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. I encourage you all to go onto our Ask website to see all the wonderful resources and the hotlines that are offered there for everyone, and reach out to those who possibly may need support or may need some encouragement to achieve support. I know there's companies such as my own that are giving away free therapy, dollar therapy, parent groups. Definitely look out there. The resources are there. Who doesn't love a free event? Just like Fam Jam, there's another event coming to town. It's the one by the Yorktown Heritage Preservation Commission and Yorktown 250, and they're partnering with the New York State Washington Rochambeau Revolutionary Root Organization. It takes place right here at the Grange on Mosman, and it will be on May 20th between 10 and 4. That same day, St. Pat's Church is going to be holding a Blue Mass. This Blue Mass will be in honor of all the officers, the police officers, the firefighters, and the EMS workers who have been lost in service, and anyone else who has, gifted their beauty and their ability to serve this country for everyone else. And the Mass is at 12 o'clock, so they're not too far away from one another, so you can kind of do that. Start at the Mass and then end up at Rochambeau. And of course, because I am a big fan of Parks and Rec, guess what's there? Our pool passes. I encourage you guys to get your pool passes. Even if you don't want to be splashed, you'll find a good spot. The pool passes are there. There are a new extended hours. So the hours are 10:30 to 2 starting this Saturday. And Tuesdays and Wednesdays are open from 6 to 8 p.m. Special hours are for residents that can't sign up during normal hours. And they're 8:30 to 4:30 is the normal hours during the weekdays. So again, on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, specific for our residents, between 6 and 8, you can go on down to the Parks and Rec's office and go ahead and get your pool pass. And between 8:30 and 4:30, there will be open no matter what.
Are we still looking for camp counselors?
We're always looking for camp counselors.
yeah.
We're looking for camp counselors, lifeguards, even just volunteers for nature projects, the travel group. If you've got wisdom and you want to share it with our youth, there's always a program. You just go ahead and find Jim Moderano, and he'll go ahead and put you in touch with the right people for the itinerary. It's really important that we pass our gifts down to our generations, and especially on a month of mental health awareness, I think that we can learn a lot from those who have served and those that continue to serve and impact others in our community. That's all.
Thank you, Luch.
Okay, hi, everybody. How's everyone doing? Well, I'm last. They've covered every single event that's going on, so I'm going to let this meeting begin for everyone.
Just one thing to keep in mind, anybody that wants to become a camp counselor, that the more camp counselors that we have, and I'm sure Jim will back me up on this, the more people we can have join our camps. It's population rated, so you have to have X number of counselors per kids that are in the camp.
It's a good old ratio game.
It's the old ratio game. So please, if you can, this summer you need a little part-time job to get you through to school till the school year starts again. Please, go down to the Parks and Recreation office and join in. Jim, how are we doing for lifeguards?
We always need more.
Always need more lifeguards. Okay, so
We have a wait list of about 80 children.
why don't you come on up here for just a second and just tell us about that? Yeah, quick.
I think it's great for seniors, too, for camp counseling, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. We would gladly take a senior or someone that's retired that wants to get back to the community. We need counselors in half-day camp. We have a wait list there, and our full-day camp as well. We also have a wait list. So it's an 8-to-1 ratio that we need to meet. So every person that is going to be working, that's 8 more kids we can pull off that wait list. So we need about 20 or so in total to get every child off the wait list. So we're still pulling, and still trying to get as many counselors in as possible. And we have about 5 full-time lifeguard spots available as well.
You need 20 more, or you need 20
more
total?
counselors to
20
get every
more
single kid that's
counselors.
on a wait list.
What are the
Okay.
hours, Jim?
For the half-day camp, it's only about 8 to 12-ish. And for the full day, it's about 8 to 3:30.
And the seniors would get paid too, right? It's just like they'll be given back, but they'll
Yes.
be compensated.
160 kids on your wait list, huh?
Yeah, that's all the camps together.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
a lot.
It's quite a bit, yeah.
Yeah. So,
But people love the camp too. That's why you have so many signups. So
Yeah,
kudos to you.
We're also one of the more affordable options out there as well for our constituents. So that's a service that we want to provide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jim. And
Thank you.
we just got to tell them, don't jump in the pools yet.
No, not yet.
No. You'd end up with a thud. They don't have any water in them yet. So they're working on it. We're going to open up Memorial Day weekend, Jim?
Junior's Memorial Day, and then Shrub Oaks week of that.
Okay, Junior will be
Stays open a
Memorial
little
Day
later.
weekend, and Shrub Oak will be the following weekend.
Or two.
Or two, if we can get it piping up and running. Okay.
Just got one more comment, real
Oh, yeah,
quick.
go ahead.
Just a quick announcement. Tomorrow night, there is a special planning board meeting about the Underhill Farms project. So 7 PM. Just want to make sure we get the word out there and that everybody's aware of it. Thank you.
Thank you. And that falls clearly within our overlay law that we can have these special meetings.
It's here, correct?
And it is here. Okay, we have Mental Awareness Month, and I have Eugene McGrath. Is Eugene McGrath? There's Eugene. How are you?
I'm well. How are you all?
We are
Good
good.
evening.
Good to see you all again.
Same here.
Councilwoman Howard, I appreciate your mental health awareness shout out, so thank you for that. That's a good segue into what I'm going to say. So good evening,
Love
everybody.
my good old NAMI.
That's right, we're here again. So thank you all for the opportunity to speak to you tonight. This is now my 4th time coming before you to have the pleasure and honor to talk to the town board as a Yorktowner, as a member of the NAMI Westchester Board of Directors, to discuss Mental Health Awareness Month. During the previous administration, Supervisor Slater, as well as past and present board members, have shown tremendous support for NAMI Westchester and the work we do to provide advocacy, support, and educational resources to members of the Yorktown community who are dealing in some way with a mental health issue. And even though I have not yet asked, I'm confident the current supervisor and town board support for our cause will continue. And for that, I want to express my personal heartfelt thanks, as well as the gratitude of NAMI Westchester and all of the members of the Yorktown community whom we've had the pleasure to serve. According to Dr. Carol Weitzman, a spokeswoman for the American Academy of Pediatrics, we need to shine the light brightly on the mental health needs of children, youth, and adolescents in this country. And we need to be advocating for better access to mental health care. The NAMI Westchester Board of Directors and its members couldn't agree more. According to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, more than 7% of children ages 3 to 17 have diagnosed anxiety. Undoubtedly, many more are struggling with anxiety, but haven't received a formal diagnosis. Some experts believe that nearly 1 in 3 adolescents meet the criteria for an anxiety disorder. 1 in 3. We owe better mental health. We owe better mental health care to our kids. We're talking about military somewhat today. 22 veterans die by suicide every single day in this country. That's a sickening number. This has been going on for way too long. Every veteran who wants help dealing with their mental health issues should be able to ask and get that help. We owe better mental health care to our veterans. Individuals in every demographic, whether it be age, ethnicity, race, gender, occupation, or any other category you could think of, are impacted by mental health. And that is one of the reasons we need to ensure mental health care and support is available to everyone in our community who needs it. We owe better mental health care to everyone in our communities, and Yorktown is no different. Tonight, we're asking the town board to allow us to hang a banner at the John C. Hart Memorial Library in recognition of Mental Health Awareness Month as a visual reminder that mental health is something that affects everyone, and that help is available right here in Yorktown, in our community, and a reminder that the town board fully supports these efforts. In 2022, the Yorktown Police Department created the First Responders Alert Registry for community members who have someone living in their household with a mental health diagnosis. Today, there are 45 residents registered in that program. According to Lieutenant Kolkman, apologies if I mispronounce, from the Yorktown Police Department, having it on file has significantly helped the Yorktown Police Department when responding to assist these residents and gives us a better understanding on how to further help them. No doubt programs like this, supported by NAMI affiliates across the country, will save many lives. And before I close, I just want to highlight some of the efforts NAMI and NAMI Westchester has helped to make reality through the generous support of everyday people. The new 988 National Mental Health Line is one. Crisis intervention teams, like I just mentioned with the Yorktown Police Department. Presentations to students, teachers, school administrators, churches, veterans groups, suicide survivors, and finally, local governments, just like we're doing here. You are not alone, and it is critical that our community members know and understand that they are not alone, and we are all here to help them face their challenges. Thank you all for your attention and support.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for what you do.
Eugene, if I can say thank you personally, because as you know, I've worked with you in the business end of
Right.
things, and just the work you do is amazing. You know, I have a very personal experience that was shared with me about someone at one of the walks, which broke my heart on one point, but before that was very uplifting as well to know that there was a difference made in her life. And, you know, you guys make a difference every day. And,
Thank you for
and
that.
it's very, very well appreciated in the community. Thank
And we
you.
don't do it alone. We do it with you guys. We do it with the community. We do it with our friends and families.
Absolutely, but advocacy is where it starts.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. Ed. Thank
Are
you.
you going to put the ribbons out?
We're not going to have ribbons, but we are going to have the banner.
Okay,
No problem with the
great,
banner.
Okay.
great. Lou,
May I read it?
you may.
Okay.
We have a little resolution to read in.
All right.
Whereas Mental Health Awareness Month is a time to raise awareness of and reduce the stigma surrounding behavioral health issues, as well as highlight the ways how mental illness and addiction can affect all of us. And whereas Mental Health Awareness Month was established in 1949 to increase the awareness of the importance of mental health and wellness in Americans' lives. And whereas many of our friends, colleagues, and loved ones are battling mental health challenges. And whereas statistics show that 1 in 4 American adults experience an episode of mental illness each year. And it is estimated 4 million children and adolescents in America suffer from a serious mental disorder. I'm sorry, it's just very important for me. So, whereas the town of Yorktown urges all members of the community, businesses, and civic organizations to assist in increasing awareness and understanding of mental illness. And be it resolved that, Mr. Supervisor, that last line's yours.
You can read it.
Okay, that on behalf of Town Supervisor Thomas P. Diana, along with the town board members of Yorktown, do hereby acknowledge and recognize the month of May as Mental Health Awareness Month in the town of Yorktown.
Thank you very much, Luciana.
Okay.
I think it's very important that we all recognize that people suffer, they mourn, they take different things in different ways. And if you see something, I remember one Ask demonstration that they had where a gentleman jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge. And he said if one person would have come up and said, "How you doing? What's going on? Can I help you?" he wouldn't have jumped. So, you know, if you see something that's a little bit different, a little bit odd, maybe just go talk to the person. Maybe that's all they needed for that particular moment to help them, and maybe you'll save a life. So, it's very, very, very important that something like that
just
happens.
to piggyback that, not that this is going to be about this, but it could be about this entire meeting. But when we approach people, we have to approach them with curiosity. We don't know better. I don't know what's going on in anyone's specific life, nor have I experienced the things that they have experienced. And in order to honor them and meet them where they are, you approach them with curiosity and genuine emotion. And you're right, Supervisor, at that point, when you ask them, "Hey, I see you, and I'm confused on how you're feeling," they'll be able to open up to you.
Yeah, you may just have to say hello. And that might start the conversation, and like I say, save somebody's life.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's important to, you know, the more distance that you put between a person that's contemplating suicide from the moment they contemplated it, the more distance you put from that contemplation, the less likely it is statistically that they will commit suicide. So maybe just, you know, it's kind of like buying time and giving them some, you know, daylight in between the two moments or whatever it is. And And that's what you could do. That's what you could affect. You may not be able to cure the person's problem, but if you extend the time frame between the moment that they contemplate it, you really will save a life. You really will.
Ed?
Yeah, just to piggyback on what the supervisor said, the young man whose story he was talking about, his name is Kevin Hines. There's a documentary that he put together. It is an amazing story, and if you want to learn, as he said, how one little question would have changed this young man's life, read about him, look him up, do a Google search, catch the video. Absolutely amazing story. Thank you for bringing it up, Tommy. It was amazing that Ask had them in our town, and it just really unbelievable, emotional, touching story.
Thank you, Ed. Mary? Anything? No, you good? Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Gene. Appreciate everything you do. And we'll be looking forward to see the banner. All right. We also have a little resolution for Military Appreciation Month. And in our audience, we have a number of past military veterans that I'd like to have come up to the podium, please. Those who can.
Guys, can we let Mr. Grasso towards the podium so he could lean on it? Sorry? Mr. Grasso, can he have the podium to lean on if he'd like?
That'd make it a little bit easier.
Do you want to lean on the podium, Tony?
All right. I'm going to have Ed read the resolution.
Sure. Whereas in 1999, United States Senator John McCain introduced the month of May as Military Appreciation Month and is now honored every year, and whereas Military Appreciation Month encourages Americans to reflect on the sacrifices made by soldiers, sailors, and all current and former military personnel, and whereas United States Armed Forces is comprised of 6 branches, including the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, and Space Force. And whereas members of the United States military make tremendous sacrifices to defend our liberties and way of life, and whereas the town of Yorktown recognizes May as Military Appreciation Month and offers our heartfelt appreciation to all of the brave individuals who defend our freedoms, and whereas the town of Yorktown encourages all residents to thank military personnel and veterans for their service, and be it resolved that I, Town Supervisor Thomas P. Diana, along with the town board members of Yorktown, do hereby acknowledge and extend our gratitude to military personnel and recognize the month of May as Military Appreciation Month in the town of Yorktown. Gentlemen, thank you all so much for your service.
Thank you for your service, gentlemen. You know, the old expression, freedom isn't free, rings true here. It's some of our greatest generation here that has fought for us to keep this freedom free.
So we get the whole bunch, huh?
Yeah, we're all coming.
Tony, thank you so much for everything.
Good man.
And if there are any members of the Merchant Marine who served during World War II, when they were militarized, although they are not an official branch of the military, thank you for your service as well.
What is with this place? This is crazy.
Booby traps. The wire's there.
No.
I haven't got an answer
Giving us
yet.
this thing. Is this
You want to
from,
address it now? Oh, no, I'm checking. I reached out.
You heard me?
I think it is too.
All right, we'll let everybody get settled in. Thank you again, gentlemen, for all you've done and all you continue to do. At this point, we have an update on the Brian J. Sylvan Aquatic Facility, Slavin, I'm sorry, Aquatic Facility Erosion Update. Dan, CRC is going to give us a little update and where we are in this procedure. We've been doing some work there, and yesterday we couldn't even see where it was eroded. I'm probably down a foot or so today, but it's still flowing.
Turns out the maps that FEMA provides us with to determine flood elevations are pretty much on the money.
Okay.
You know, that area is prone to flooding, and unfortunately, we'll lose that parking lot, underwater on a regular basis.
Time and time again.
Hopefully, we got some relief. We did that culvert at Hill Boulevard. Should provide some relief to some of the upstream people, but still, that's Shrub Oak Brook does provide its challenges to us. So that being said, we've had a condition between the two pedestrian bridges at Shrub Oak Park. This is a classified stream, so it requires a DEC approval. We discussed with them what we could accomplish under their general permit and not go for a specific permit just for us. So we put together an application to do basically a bank stabilization, and that project now is ready to tidy up and put into a bid document so we can get it out and have that situation stabilized and hopefully keep it from, hopefully after we put in this rock slope stabilization along the edge there that will be protecting the pedestrian walkway. It will not stop the flooding, though.
The flooding is one thing
The flooding
that we
we
cannot
just have
stop.
to live with.
I had actually gone to Shrub Oak Pond with regard to that, and we were talking about opening the dam valve, so the dam gate, and it was flowing right over the top of it. There was nothing that, it was pretty bad.
Well, the notion would be is that if you really have, something that we know is coming, like a hurricane, that you could drop the lake a day or two before,
Yeah,
so that when it arrives, that storage in the lake provides some attenuation of the peaks and allows, to some extent controls the flooding, the high water upstream, but also will help, modulate the downstream effects as well.
yeah. Our lakes did what they were supposed to do. They retained the water, and they're dispersing it as quickly as they can through the channels that are there. So, Dan, what do you think, when we're going to get this out for bid? And we got to get started pretty quick.
Yeah. Yeah, the hope is we should have this for you next week. Worst case, the following meeting, we'll be able to advertise for bids. And it's a pretty simple job, so I don't think we have to have it out on the street too long to get prices back.
Yeah. And maybe the very worst we may have to do is if we can get the bid documents out ASAP, we may have to keep that particular pool facility closed one more week, but hopefully not.
I mean, we also could do some temporary stabilization. We could, if there's a danger there, we could put in maybe a metal plate or something and put some additional safety fencing to keep people away from it. Because, at this point, I didn't look at it after this storm, but there was really no indication that the sidewalk was going to break away, and putting a plate in and, would further protect that in the interim period.
So Dan, I'm obviously gonna lean to you because you're the engineer. So because the little bit of asphalt, which we AKA call the sidewalk, right, that's there, the walkway there?
It's concrete.
The concrete, there's like this much of it on eroding dirt. So will that be able to hold a plate?
No, we would put it
On the side.
on the side.
Of the, no, I
in other
get
words,
that, but there's no, right now, if you look at it, there's like this much dirt that's eroding away as the water creeps.
The idea would be to just put it right where the excessive erosion is and push it
And
in.
you think it'll hold?
Yeah, you push it in with a machine and just tip it over.
Oh, so you're actually gonna anchor, you're almost like rebarring it with this to hold it back.
It's really,
Okay.
you really just want to keep the velocity
I was just
the
thinking
brook away.
because
I
of how
mean-
moist that land, the plate's heavy. So I'm like, how will it hold it up? But what you're saying is you're gonna actually
It's
take a
gonna be
plate.
sitting, like, close to the
edge.
bottom of the stream channel.
Yeah.
Right, so you're actually going to, like, almost like if we were rewiring like the concrete, you're putting this, you're anchoring this plate in and holding up the dirt.
This is bank stabilization, basically, for.
Yeah, I mean, the dirt, you know, it's really the enemy is really the erosion at this point.
Right.
You know, that, we gotta just keep, you know, we'll see what, I haven't been out there since this last event, but, we'll see if we lost anything
worse.
more.
I mean, these past couple of days was,
All right, we'll check it out. I mean, there may be some stopgap things we can do, to protect the sidewalk and just keep it safe to get people in and out
that's
of
it.
there.
And now until we get it fixed the right way.
And I was out there earlier, it still wasn't below where you could really see anything, you know. It was,
it's still that high.
It's still pretty high, so.
It's still in the parking lot?
There was still some in the parking lot, small section in the corner, you know, but it's diminishing as we speak, so.
All right, hopefully maybe we can get
Everything's
eyes
doing
on it
its job.
tomorrow.
All right.
All
All
right,
right,
that's
so we'll
the
get
story.
that done and get it out to bid so we can get going there.
Okay.
Thank you, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
All right, our poet laureate, John McMullen.
You were right about that video. It's a terrific video. I read his story years ago, and I wrote about it in a column once. And news, by the way, driving over here tonight, there's a big sign by the par 3 golf course recruiting employees.
Yeah.
Great. Local businesses.
Now get to my job. 2 mass cards. When a Catholic friend dies, I go to a Catholic rectory and buy a mass card. The mass card is really an announcement that a mass will be said for the person who has passed away. I normally get them a few times a year as the number of living friends of mine decline. Last week, I bought them on consecutive days for 2 men I remember as children. One was in his early 30s, the other in his mid-70s. The younger one was the child of the child of my next-door neighbor and a woman who worked in my office. The older one was the younger brother of 2 contemporaries of my youth who remained friends to this day. I only became real friends with him, Bobby, when in his 60s, retired as a technologist and took to writing fiction. We became much closer when COVID hit and my weekly writing group went online, allowing him to participate from hundreds of miles away. The younger one, Joey, died unexpectedly in Florida. Bobby died in hospice care after a battle with cancer. I went to Joey's funeral on Saturday. Bobby's was yesterday in Massachusetts. They never knew each other, but perhaps they will meet now. I feel a real sadness for their survivors and reflect that someday, not too soon I hope, someone will be buying a mass card with my name on it. Thank you.
Thank you, John. All righty. I'd like to open up courtesy of the floor. And just as a reminder, you can always contact us. You do not have to wait for courtesy of the floor. You can always call Town Hall, our town officials, our town departments. We are here to work for you. You can visit us on the town website at www.yorktownny.org. You can find all the contact information for everybody here on the dais, town clerk, even the town attorney, and of course, your elected officials. As a reminder, there's a 3-minute time limit on your comment for courtesy of the floor, and we ask that you direct them to the town board, and we ask, as always, that your comments remain focused and respectful. So we're going to open up courtesy of the floor. Do we have any takers? Hello, Jane.
Hi.
How are you?
Yes, it's me.
Oh,
I'm Jane Daniels. I am a longtime resident of Yorktown, and I live just off of Stony Street with a Mohegan Lake address. Okay. All of you know that last December there was a large pothole that appeared, or we should say sinkhole, at Legacy Fields. Okay. The compensation for closing Woodlands Legacy Fields is a nice one. It's not exactly pocket change. And it's understandable that every department has their hand out. I'd like some. But it was the users of the park and those of the playing fields that were inconvenienced the most, okay? Like a wise homeowner, the Parks Department should be setting aside money for infrastructure, such as turf replacement. And those funds that were in compensation would help do those repairs. The trails in Yorktown parks are maintained by volunteers of the New York, New Jersey Trail Conference and the Westchester Mountain Biking Association. The Trail Conference has a legal agreement with the town, and it states, in this particular section 5.1, jointly decide project by project who supplies the materials for the construction of structures along the trails. For larger projects, decide who should apply for grants or put into the yearly budget cycle. It is my understanding that the Parks Department is a lot of their budget comes from the what they charge for their programs. The Trail Conference, you're not going to charge for people to go out and walk on the trails. It would cost you more to put somebody out there saying, hey. Okay. The Trail Conference has supplied close to all of the materials to build bridges and puncheon, very frequently through Eagle projects or donations. There's over 700 feet of boardwalk on the Yorktown Trailway. That's the path that parallels the Taconic. That's nearing its end of its lifetime of about 25 years. Needing repairs is speeded up because of the ATV abuse on it. While I would like the Parks and Recreation Department to receive all the funds from that compensation, realistically, I know you're not going to do that. But they should receive at least half of those funds so they can stockpile funds for infrastructure repairs and compensate for the people who were denied use of the hiking trails and the playing fields during that time that the park was closed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jane.
Okay.
What?
Thank you. Hello.
Good evening, everybody.
Hey, Lori.
How's everybody
We're
doing?
good.
Very good.
My name is Lori Noonan. I've lived in Yorktown for almost 30 years, and I'm here tonight to talk about ethics and transparency. I was a member of the Ethics Board for over 9 years, from December 2010 to January 2020, serving as secretary for most of that time under 3 different ethics boards chairpersons. The board members serving with me worked diligently to create a structure and formalize the process for reviewing and investigating ethics complaints. The required ethics disclosure form was also revised to better highlight personal relationships, properties, and business dealings that have the potential to create conflicts of interest for elected officials and appointed board members. Our board's role was to review and investigate ethics complaints and make recommendations to the town board when someone's actions rose to the level of a violation of the Code of Ethics. However, I and the other board members grew frustrated that, as an advisory board, we had no decision-making authority. All of our findings and determinations were submitted to the town board for review and implementation. Often, after spending considerable time and effort, no actions were taken. In past years, the sitting ethics board chairpersons appeared before the town board regarding the need to amend the 2010 ethics law, giving this board decision-making authority and making the complaint process more transparent. An ethics expert, attorney Stephen Leventhal, was also hired to review our ethics code and make recommendations to the town board. None of these past recommended amendments have yet been enacted. This past December, the current ethics board chairman said that he was looking forward to starting a new conversation with the town board in the coming months. The ethics board again presented language for suggested amendments, and it's now May, and there has not been any open discussions on how our ethics law needs reform. Recently, I co-authored an op-ed piece for the local newspaper on the need to amend the ethics law. In this article, we discussed the issue of secrecy and how it is at the heart of our law. As the law now stands, once the ethics board completes its investigation of a possible violation, it submits its findings and recommendations to the town board. The town board can then choose to keep these findings and recommendations secret. It could also keep secret any sanctions imposed upon the person found to have violated the law. Or it can completely ignore the findings and recommendations of the ethics board and do nothing. And so I ask you, why have an ethics law if violations are kept secret? Why have an ethics law if there are no consequences for violating the law? Why have an ethics board if the town board can choose to ignore its findings and recommendations? The town board has consistently said that it is committed to transparency. If you are sincere in this, and if these are just not empty words, then I ask you to take up our challenge and to reform our ineffective ethics laws. A suggested next step would be to create a small working group to draft amendments to the law. The group would include current and former ethics board members, as they are the ones who know the law best, a town board member, and at least one resident who has had dealings with the ethics board. Yorktown's code of ethics needs fixing. The law needs to be amended so that there is transparency in the ethics complaint process. I hope we can all work together to bring this about. Thank you, and I appreciate your
Thank you,
attention.
Lori.
Look forward to your comments. Thank you.
Good evening, James Mecca.
Hi, Jim.
I was watching, last Tuesday, I was watching the town hall meeting, and I was extremely happy with your proclamation making April 26th Korean Appreciation Day. Last Wednesday, I was honored to be invited to go to the Korean War presentation up in Albany with a few of the Korean War vets. Members Don King and Sue King, they went up with us. We had my combat group meeting in Yonkers that went up. And it was a special day, and it was 70 years overdue for these heroes. And to look at the faces of these men and look in their eyes and see how proud and happy they were that they finally got honored after all these years is something me and everybody else that went on that trip will never forget. And we are now trying to do this nationally. And we're looking to have, next year will be July 27th, which is the day of the armistice for the Korean War vets. And we think we can get it done. And these men who served in that terrible conflict, which 54,000 of them lost their lives, deserve this. So, like I said, when I watched it last week, I was extremely happy that you've made this proclamation, and I want to thank you. And I want to thank all the Korean War vets for their service. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Hey, Jim. Dan Strauss, 57-year resident. I drove through Mohegan the other day on Route 6, and I saw Taco Bell sitting next to St. Mary's Church. So I don't think there's really a master plan in the town of Yorktown. I didn't know there was a meeting tomorrow night about the Underhill Farms. I'm just going to give you some thoughts that I've just come about in the last few days. The developer is going to obliterate nearly 14 acres of a historic property. He's going to obliterate trees, shrubbery, wildlife habitat, and wetlands, etc. He's going to preserve one building. There's no question, but he has the right to not preserve that building to get that squared. The property, as far as I'm concerned, will look like the property, the Wyant property that is sitting behind the Roma building, once he's done obliterating it before he does construction. Phase 2. As far as I know, and in my opinion, no, it's not in my opinion. As far as I know, he's going to build 148 housing units, some senior-friendly. He's going to have 11,000 square feet of commercial space, a restaurant, an inn, 2 pools, a clubhouse, a cut-through road, a refurbished pond and public access area, and trails and parking for all of this, plus 30 spaces of additional parking, all on a historic 14-acre lot. I cannot comprehend that. It's not about walkability, because this has been talked about regarding this project and others. It's not about the traffic. It's not about senior center. It's not about the pond, because no one has given a hoot about that pond for the last 240 years. It's not about the historic building. It's all about the density. And as far as I know, the density has been allowed because of the overlay district. And when you set up the overlay district, you gave the right to approve that project to the planning board. I believe I am not incorrect in anything I'm saying. I believe there was a big meeting a few weeks ago, which a lot of issues were raised by a lot of different boards, and as far as I know, none of those has been addressed. And I believe one person directly asked Mr. Guerrero or one of his associates, will you reduce the scope of the project? And as far as I know, that has not been answered or addressed, unless I'm mistaken.
Dan, your time's up.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
Hi, good evening. Susan Siegel. Tonight I'm wearing my Yorktown Trailtown hat. We work closely with Jane and Walt in the Trail Conference. They build, maintain the trails, and Yorktown Trailtown promotes the trails, which is why I'm here to focus on something that Mary and you said. One, everyone supports Support Connection, and everyone likes the trails, but there is another event coming up on Sunday, May 7th. Support Connection and Yorktown Trailtown are working together to sponsor a guided hike.
Oh, yeah.
Guided hike at Sylvan Glen that will go through to the Mohegan Quarry. This is we've had fundraising events for lots of things in Yorktown. This is the first hike that's a fundraising hike because all of the proceeds will go to Support Connection. I don't have to say anything about Support Connection, right? So we're trying to get some additional people here. This is a little bit more than the walk in FDR Park, but it's an easy walk, and if I can do it, I'm sure lots of people can do it. It's a family-friendly event from 8:30 to 10:30 in the morning on Sunday the 7th. We're going to have small groups. We have a group of guide leaders to go, so we can have small groups. They will leave as people assemble, and then they will take off. We will space it out. We anticipate taking about 2 hours for the round trip. And I know Fam Jam had this horrible weekend. We can only, for everybody's sake, pray for a sunny day.
Yeah.
But it's rain or shine, but we don't know if it's a little drizzle or downpour. But we encourage you all to come, and then if you come early enough and do the hike from 8:30 to 10:30, then you can, I think we're expecting Chef Rob to come there, Granite Knolls, so you can have a breakfast, rest up, and then you can go enjoy Fam Jam after that. You can go to supportconnection.org to pre-register. There is a fee because this is a fundraiser for Support Connection. Or if you're not sure, you can register when you come to the hike. It will start at the sports complex at Granite Knolls in the parking lot. Just look for the signage, whatever, because that's where we will start out. So I encourage everybody to come. Support the trails, support Connection. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Susan.
Thanks, Susan.
Tommy, I just have a question. Is Fam Jam Friday, Saturday, or Saturday, Sunday?
Saturday, Sunday.
Saturday, Sunday.
It moved again, yeah.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Jenny.
I guess Sean knows.
Change the calendar.
I just want to thank you, everybody sitting at that table, for all the time and work and effort that you're putting into this town. It's a beautiful town. I've been here since the 50s, and I can stand here for an hour and tell you a lot of stories, but I'm not. The reason I'm getting up is a couple of the speakers have talked about the seniors, and I like the word seniors. I like to hear that word when I come to the meeting, and I don't hear it that often. I just want to remind, and I will also say this at the senior advisory meeting, that the seniors 70 and above get free pool passes. And quite a few times we've mentioned about the pool and the cost. And everybody forgets that the seniors 70 and over do get a free pool pass. At this time, I really don't know what they have to show, but when I announce it at the senior advisory meeting, which is also televised, I'll make sure I have the information. I'm sure a license or something saying that
Yes.
you live here in Yorktown
Or bills.
is sufficient. But we worked hard to get that small little thing for them, but it's there. Okay, guys?
That's
Thank you.
wonderful.
Thank you,
And
Jenny.
thank you for all that you do for us.
Thank
Oh,
you.
you're so well.
Appreciate that.
Hi, Anthony Pichette.
Hi, Aunt.
I could listen to an hour of stories because I'm new, so I'd love to learn. First thing I was going to talk about, taking Supervisor up on what he said, like, let's be positive, and you want to hear more of that. My first time I went to the Arts Fair at Yorktown Grange, which is a really cool space. Really nice, cool stuff there, and also the event they had at the mall too was really nice. First thing I want to talk about is the proposal for pre-K. I just wanted to talk about it again because obviously it's important to me and many others, judging by reaction online and just in general. I'm paraphrasing here to be fair, but I was watching the school board presentations or meetings for the last couple of weeks, and it seemed about a month ago or so, I think the superintendent, I don't know if he was baiting people, but he seemed to be unsure if there was interest for free daycare in this town. Well, I'd like to say, I think we could all agree on that, no matter who you are, that there is definitely interest in free daycare. For well, I'm getting carried away, for pre-K. So hopefully everyone would agree with that. It did seem in the next meeting, they said they did get interest back. They did let people did tell them that was something that we're interested in. And I assure him, if he's watching this, there is definitely interest. So even a couple of the board members, I think they were just doing their due diligence, of course, but still, I'll say it. I'm sure, look online, people will say, I can say this over for the next 2 minutes, Diana, if you want to, I'll just say it over and over. Anyway, I wanted to also, the next thing I wanted to talk about, and just, it was about your article in your op-ed in the Yorktown News. I want to phrase this the correct way, because I understand why I understand where it was coming from as far as the discussion about what the housing situation is going to be, as other people talked about it here as well. I'm wondering if there's a way to push back or to clarify for residents, for others, without, I guess, when we talk about low-income housing, when we talk about affordable housing, as if it's some boogeyman, if it's some people that don't have money are somehow going to take over the town and everyone's going to have to run away. I mean, there are a lot of, I don't know, is it we don't want poor people, or is it just certain poor people? And I'm not saying you said this, just to be absolutely clear, okay? But I hear that a lot. I hear we're getting overrun. I hear the diversity, I hear the density, stuff talked about. I'm just wondering if there's a way, son of a gun. I just wonder if there's a way to have that discussion without kind of speaking to,
Without all the histrionics.
Was that?
Without
yeah,
all the histrionics.
without like having to speak to the lowest common denominator in a way. I understand why it was done. I just wonder if you could talk about that.
Sure.
Great answer.
So much. Anybody else for courtesy of the floor? Okay, can I get a motion to close courtesy of the floor?
Moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, board members, any thoughts?
I leave it to you, Supervisor.
Alrighty,
Yeah, you want me to go first?
go ahead.
Okay, just a couple of quick points. About the ethics law, Lori, I mean, we served together. And I thought there was a really good dynamic in the group that we served with. I served in groups after that. I think the dynamics of other groups wasn't as positive, but very positive nonetheless. I think, and I've said that, and we've had this conversation, the ethics law is horribly written. It's just, it's ambiguous at times. And I'm not too sure. What I did notice is that during election season, during an election cycle, you get flooded with all sorts of complaints, because, and some legitimate, some, I think, manipulative. And we agree on that. We've spoken about this. And I think that's kind of like one of the fears. But I do think that it needs to be rewritten. I don't think it's something that happens overnight. And I know that we did receive some of the changes. I mean, we'll review it and stuff. It's not like that we're opposed to doing that. It's just that these things take time, and it's got to be approached cautiously and apprehensively, because you want to do the right thing. You don't want to make the same mistake twice. You don't want to get another bad law on the books for it. As far as Dan, as far as the density, you have two developments that are next to the Underhill project. One is a slightly less density, or less density, I'll say, and the other is more dense, I believe, if I'm accurate. Those happened without the benefit of the overlay district. So there is density there already, and so I don't think it's necessarily the law was written because of density. I think the law was actually written, and it was well intended to spur some kind of economic revitalization in our town, which I think we need. That was, I think, one of the intents of the law. It wasn't like this evil thing that we're going to pack people in like sardines into the town. That's my honest opinion. Lastly, Anthony, as far as the article I wrote, it was more, informational, and I'm going to be writing additional articles on different topics. My goal in the articles is to kind of not reveal where I stand on stuff, because that doesn't matter. The articles are to clarify kind of topics that are often, misperceived, misrepresented, and it could be any topic. One of the topics that I often hear about, and you're right, I mean, low income or affordable housing, isn't this evil thing? And so that's why I addressed it in the article, because a lot of people came up to me, and the first question is, is it going to be affordable housing? And I say, it can be. And what I said in the article is, Yorktown just doesn't have a set-aside law where it's mandated for a certain level of development, certain size developments, or something like that. That's what we don't have. What we do have is the ability to put affordable housing if the developer comes in and wants to. And affordable housing from this town board isn't treated any differently from a developer that wants to, or by the planning board, by the way, who do a great job of assessing and fulfilling the needs of a developer, according to the law. And so if you're a developer and you come into this town and you want to build a development without affordable housing, it gets treated the same way as if you're a developer that comes in this town that wants to build affordable housing. Case in point, there's a brand new building that was built, I don't know, when was it built, Tom? Right here on Kear Street. It has the jeweler at the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
It's a beautiful
5 years
building,
ago?
and it's
About 5 years ago.
Yeah, right, and it's low. It's affordable housing. So no one's really opposed to it. The point of the article was to point out how many units. There was 60. Somebody said 64 units. Another one said 128 units. Another one said it was a half an acre of land. I'm exaggerating on the half acre land. The point of that of my op-ed was to just clarify, clear the air, give people accurate information, which I tried my best to verify, and I think I did a good job with it, and then present, our affordable housing law as it stands in the town of Yorktown, so people understood, because there's I heard so many crazy stories. It's just, and that was really just the intention of the article, and hopefully future articles will, are going to address facts, not fiction. And occasionally, if I'm wrong, I'll correct it. I'm not perfect either. But I think that article was just written for that purpose. So many people were nervous when they did see whatever someone called it, destruction, what did they call it, the courtesy? Whatever word, whatever adjective was used, so, when they saw that, and even the supervisor said, yeah, it was kind of like quite a sight. But what we wanted to do, and what I wanted to do in that article is explain that, yeah, all those trees came down. Many were dead. Many were invasive species. Many were healthy trees. And so when you see that kind of like all of a sudden it's all gone, the developer is tasked with putting, I think, something like 200 trees back up.
204 trees they're putting back.
204 trees are going back in. People didn't know that. And so that's why I think my phrase in the thing was more than 200 trees, I believe is how I phrased it, because I didn't know the exact number. I didn't want to get it wrong, right? So I kind of gave you a general close figure to it. And that's really what's going on with any project that comes in town. And if you look across the street at the Caramount building, there was the same type of kind of look when everything came down. But now look how beautiful it is. And so, progress through preservation, we're trying to do our best, with that motto. But, we're trying also to revitalize our town in a way that's productive and that's smart. And again, that's the point. All right, that's all. Thank you.
All right, Lou.
I'm good, thank you, Supervisor.
Okay, Mary?
I'm good.
All right. Just a couple things. With regard to what Sergio said about I actually was the one that said construction is destruction. If you're going to build something, you have to clear it first before you can build it up. And I used the analogy of across the street at the Caramount facility, where we ended up with a tree-lined street, new sidewalks, beautiful building, and many, many, many people use it. That parking lot is full on a daily basis. Weekends even more. But, we do have a decent amount of affordable dwellings in town, and we leave it up to the developers whether they want to have any or not. We, as a board, don't feel that it is upon us to have to have a takeaway from them. If they want to decide that they want to put up a affordable unit or 2 or 10, then they can do that. Jane, with regard to turf replacement, they actually get that out of their fees when they rent the fields out. So there's a certain percentage of the fees that go right directly to turf replacement, and they're getting ready now. They're going out for bid and or quotes for Legacy, which is starting to be time for it to be replaced. So that would probably be within the next, probably after football season, I'm going to guess. Maybe before, but probably after football season. The Underhill Farms, and contrary to popular belief, the notion that we are having secret meetings and we're being nefarious and all this sort of thing, the law gives us that particular right to do that. The overlay law says that we can have these meetings. It's not that we're violating any type of open meeting law. Okay, when we go to a meeting, we go as attorneys, or the attorneys get together. I'll pop in on them. I'll pop in on a planning board meeting. We're allowed to do that. So the notion that we're being nefarious is just that, a notion. Okay? Everybody has been forthcoming with what's going on over there. The people have spoken that they wanted to have more information. We gave them more information, and now we're being charged that we gave them too much information. Okay? I don't understand, but I guess maybe someday I will. You're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. And quite frankly, the more information we give the people about what's going on any project, I always think is good, because everybody is well informed then, and nobody's trying to hide anything. So that notion you can put beside you. Thank you, Susan, for the hike update. I think that's going to be fun this weekend.
I had one question for Susan when you're done too on that.
Anthony, with the UPK, we're working on that now. They have to go out for RFPs. You know, we're going to have to see how they come back, but that's definitely up to the school districts and school boards. I was the party planner in that. That was about it. I got them together with some people, and we had a very productive and robust conversation on how that may work. There's a certain number of people, and it goes by a lottery system. It doesn't go by income. It doesn't go by race, color, or creed. It's I guess they just pick the names out of a hat. But that's on the school boards, and how many. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Yorktown was about 170 and spots, and Lakeland was about 100. So, you know, it's up to the school boards and the two school superintendents, and they're looking into that pretty robustly at this point. It's actually it's a 5,500. Actually, it's 5,450 is what the state pays per student per year to go to UPK. Let's see, what else do I have here? Oh, Gloria, I didn't want to miss you. Jim Martirano Sr., we have Junior back there. Senior had come up to my office, and we did go over a little bit of the law, and he's rewriting it actually as we speak. He's got some very good ideas. But in as far as any type of punitive damages to folks, we take at the town board level only because it may even fall under union people that may do something that is unethical. I don't think we've found that yet. I don't recall any in my tenure here, but we have the ultimate say on any type of punitive exercise we may need to take on any particular individual, and that is the town board's purview and charge here. Is there anything else? No, I think that's about it. That's it.
I just
Okay.
had a quick question, Susan. If you can't walk, but you know someone who's walking, like if you have I have plans that day, can you sponsor a walker?
Get up and answer this.
Just a yes or no.
Not like the Support Walk Connection that's at FDR Park. This is a registration. It's $20 for adults, 10 for students and children, and 50 for a family. So if you can't walk but you would like to support it, you can have Mr. Jones, whoever is your friend, whatever, pay the $20 and they can walk for you.
Or I could register to walk and not show up.
Oh, yeah, you can always do that.
This will be on the website, correct?
What?
This is on the
It's
website?
pre-registration is at the Support Connection website, supportconnection.org. Just click the link for special events and scroll down to that, or you can register at the site. But this is, obviously, anyone can walk on their own through Sylvan Glen and go to the quarry, but this is a guided walk with trained guides who will explain everything for you. Thank you.
Thanks, Susan.
And thanks for your support.
Okay, we're going to bounce back to personnel. Where are we here? Okay. Appoint Kristen Scherer to the position of Senior Office Assistant, Auto Systems, in the Refuse and Recycling Department. Congratulations, Kristen. From the Planning Department, adopt a draft environmental impact statement scope dated May 2nd, 2023 for the proposed project located at 800 East Main Street, Yorktown. That would be AMS LLC. John, would you like to say anything about that project? Or actually, I have Mark here. Would you like to just pop up and say anything about the project at this point in time?
There's an error on the resolution.
Good evening, Mr. Supervisor, members of the board. Mark Weingarten on behalf of AMS. Rather simply, you know, you're the lead agency on the project which we are proposing, our clients are proposing over at the contractor's register site. As lead agent, you went out and we had a draft scope. It was reviewed by your professionals. You held a public scoping session. We went to the your architectural board, we went to your planning board, I think there was one other board, that we had the conservation board, and we got comments from all of them. All of those went through your professionals. We've now redrafted the scope to reflect those public comments, comments of the board, comments of your board. They're now all in the scope. It's been signed off by your professionals. It's before you tonight. That will be the table of contents for all of the reports and work. It's going to take some months for us to go do that before you'll see us again, but we will go do all those works and all those studies that are combined in this so we can come back with a draft environmental impact statement for a public hearing, which will be some months down the road. So we look forward to the process, but this is the next step that we're hoping you will take this evening.
Okay, thank you so much. Any questions from the board?
No.
No.
We're good, just the, I believe we have a typo there for November 1st?
2022, it should say.
2022, okay.
Correct, John?
There we go.
November 1st, 2022. It currently says 23.
It's, the second paragraph, John.
Whereas on November 1st, 2023,
Yeah, it's 2022.
submitted the full.
2022. Okay.
We're good, we're not that good.
November didn't
I
come
say,
yet.
wow, that's good. All right, so.
I'd also like to know the numbers on 2022.
Sometimes
Yeah.
word tells you what day it is anyways.
Okay, I think that's all,
That's it. I don't
that's
think-
all we need at that point. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there a vote, or?
We're gonna
We
finish
do
get
that.
there.
You do that at the end?
Yep, we'll do that at the end.
Thank you.
banging them all together.
Okay, John, do you have anything to say on that particular? Nope, okay, great. From the town clerk, authorize the town clerk to refer out and set public hearing to consider the wetlands stormwater management permit application for the installation of an in-ground pool on property located at 79 Summerston Road. Then we're going to authorize the town clerk to refer out to appropriate agencies the sign permit application received from Dia Hamed for the gas station located at 1530 East Main Street. Okay, from the engineer, budget transfer for maintenance and repair for pump stations. Okay, can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, can I have a motion to
So moved.
adjourn?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nope.
Good night, Yorktown.
Night, Yorktown.